Want to make serious cash from bricks and mortar? Stay tuned. This is Property Ladder. Take one man with no property developing experience, about £350,000, a rundown 3-bedroom flat that he wants to turn into a luxury 5-bedroom apartment, and you've got the makings of a very dangerous development. Meet Martin Sutherland.
This is my first project, my first development. It's a learning curve for me. If I get it wrong, I'll be very sorry for myself. But I'm quite confident that I'll get there.
Martin wants to change this 3-bedroom flat into a 5-bed, top-spec luxury apartment and then rent it out as a long-term investment. But it's a big project for a first development. How much did you buy the flat for?
I paid $312,000 for it.
And what are you planning on spending doing it up?
I'm hoping to spend around £40,000 on it. The maximum of £45,000 if things go wrong. But I don't really want to go over that kind of budget.
So that's 357 investment plus stamp duty. It's 370 odd.
That's right.
And what sort of return are you hoping for your £370,000 investment?
I am hoping to achieve around £2,500 rental income from this flat per month.
Why do you want to rent it out?
Because I want to hang on to the flat. I think of it as my pension for the future.
So this is a long-term view. So what we have to remember here is that this is a lot of work for a long-term gain. Martin used all his savings and borrowed the rest to buy the flat for £312,000. His budget is just £45,000 to do all the work. He's hoping to charge between £100 and £140 a week for the rooms, which will bring in a total of £2,500 a month. That's an annual 8% gross return, which is pretty good for this financial climate.
See what?
At the moment, the flat is spread over the top 2 floors of this property. It has 3 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs. Downstairs, there's a large sitting room, decent-sized kitchen, and a tiny shower room. But all that's about to change. Martin plans to cut the kitchen in half and put a shower room in there. And that means the old shower room will become a tiny 4th bedroom. Then he's going to split the lounge so he can squeeze in a 5th bedroom. Upstairs, the layout's staying basically the same, with the addition of an ensuite in the largest bedroom. But that means 4 out of the 5 bedrooms in the flat will be pretty small. Who are you planning to market the flat to?
I'm hoping to rent it out to young professionals who are willing to pay that little bit extra for the creature comforts for luxuries.
Okay, and how are you hoping to achieve a top-end rental price? Presumably with a top-end finish, is it?
That's right, by spending money on luxury products and luxury interiors such as very good bathroom fittings, very nice designer tiles, a nice kitchen, that kind of thing.
To be able to rent this flat to corporate clients, Martin will need to have a luxury finish. But that won't be enough unless everything else is right too. And this is an incredibly small bedroom. Who's it going to be for? Who's this bedroom marketed to? Is this another professional?
Yes, it's a kind of a person who's a socialite who doesn't spend much time at home, who comes back home basically.
Someone who doesn't live here and just pays rent? Good idea. If you know any tenants who just pay rent and don't live there, they can all come and live with me.
Well, people are quite busy these days. They tend to spend a lot of time outdoors, and I imagine there are people who basically work hard and spend most of their life working and socialising.
But then why would they pay someone like that pay top whack rent?
Because for that short period of time when they come home, They want to come home to a place where they've got a luxury when they can...
But they haven't got luxury because it's a tiny bedroom.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
And it isn't only the bedroom that seems small in Martin's new layout. Even the kitchen is going to be a little cramped.
So you end up with this space. You're going to end up with an internal bathroom and this, I think that looks a really uncomfortable small kitchen for a 5-bedroom flat. Isn't the size of the kitchen, it's the proportions and the fact it's going to be in this dark, dingy hole over here.
It won't be dark, it's got a nice big window, I think.
My worries really with your plans are that it doesn't really go, a 5-bedroom flat and a top-end young professionals flat. People who are going to pay top-end prices for a top-end finish don't want a 5-bedroom flat. And even if they do, they're going to want big, well-proportioned rooms. And I think you'd be better off making a really well-proportioned 3-bedroom flat than shoehorning lots and lots of bedrooms into the same space and ending up with 1 decent bedroom and 4 tiny box rooms.
It worries me what he's saying, and I can only say to that my gut feeling is that hopefully you're wrong and I'm right.
I think Martin should keep this as a 3-bedroom flat, which could easily be made to appeal to exactly the type of people he's aiming at. And because he could charge more for each room, it would end up earning him about the same rent. On the top floor, there would be 2 decent-sized bedrooms, each with their own ensuite. On the floor below, I'd turn the sitting room into an open-plan kitchen and living area, which is perfect for the young professional market. The kitchen then becomes another really good-sized bedroom. And I'd turn the old shower into a state-of-the-art wet room. So you'd end up with 3 good bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a good living space. I think this would earn as much money, be easier to let, and be better looked after.
Well, I disagree with you because I think that end of the market is very competitive. I think there's a lot of flats, 3-bedroom flats on the market that are quite cheap. And in order for me to maximise the income, I need to put in 2 bedrooms. But then again, I may be wrong, and I'll be very sorry for myself if I do get it wrong.
Martin's target market certainly do live in the area. You only have to walk to the high street to see the signs everywhere. There are tons of cafes, restaurants and bars. It's got great transport links into central London and the city, and it's easy to get out of town. But to attract them, you have to have an absolutely top-end finish and keep it that way. And that certainly doesn't come cheap.
If someone said to me, how much would it cost to turn a split-level 3-bedroom flat into a 5-bedroom flat and refurbish it for a top-end market, I would have thought 45,000 was very low, including all the costs. It's going to be a big challenge.
Although £45,000 may sound like a lot, I don't think it's enough for what Martin's got planned. He's allowing £27,800 for the building works, £6,000 for the 3 bathrooms, £2,500 for the kitchen, £3,700 for all the carpeting and furniture, and £5,000 for contingencies. This brings the total to £45,000. Martin's hoping to keep costs down by overseeing as much of the work as he can himself. But he's already running his own import business, and I don't think he realises just how tough it will be.
I am project managing the whole thing. I am the foreman. I'll be the labourer. I'll be the decorator. I'll be a part of the team, basically. I'll be the architect, the structural engineer.
Next day, work starts on the flat. Martin's team of builders are ripping through.
We're up and running. We're slightly behind schedule. But that's not uncommon in the building game, I believe.
And whatever I say, Martin seems convinced that this flat really will work for the high-end corporate market.
You've sacrificed a really nice big sitting room to squeeze in a teeny bedroom.
It's a big bedroom.
Is it? For a mouse.
Martin Sutherland's used his entire pension savings to pay for his first development.
I'm quite confident that I'm not going to go over the budget more than 10%. Definitely not. Definitely not.
He started work 5 days ago, and I think he's making a big mistake. Martin wants to transform a 3-bedroom flat into a luxury 5-bedroom apartment before renting it out to the top-end young professional market. I think the new rooms will be very small, but the old walls coming down anyway.
Oh my word, what's going on here? I thought they were going to leave the whole thing and just take out a doorway. It means more work, basically, screwing down more plasterboards and using up more rock wool. Not something that I wanted to see.
Martin's convinced he can earn more money by squeezing more tenants in, but he could make as much money for much less work if he kept the rooms bigger.
Ah, so you've divided up the sitting room.
Yes, as you can see, it's a big bedroom.
Is it? For a mouse.
I think it is quite big.
I think the thing is, it's about compromise, isn't it? And you've compromised a big sitting room to have this small bedroom and to have a tiny bedroom down there. And I just wonder if you're looking for top-end rental, whether actually that's a compromise you can justify.
Well, I mean, time will tell, really.
Are you worried at all about it?
Yes, always, every day.
Oh, no, really?
But I think we'll be okay.
It needs to be okay because Martin's risking £370,000 on this development.
Well, and this is the kitchen, is it now?
This is the kitchen.
Squeezing a shower room into part of the kitchen means that both now feel small. If Martin insists on shoehorning all these rooms in, I think he should create an open-plan living space.
You knock through this wall, you take it right out up to here, take it right back and have a recess here that the fridge can sit against. And then you'll have a window at one end, a window at the other end, and this great vista through the flat. If you knock the sitting room and the kitchen together, the young professional market like open-plan living. And because they like it, that's what they want, that's what they demand, that's what they are looking for.
If we make an opening here, it won't be big enough to get the whole kind of space idea.
Martin's forgetting that just because he doesn't like open-plan living, that doesn't mean his target market doesn't either. In fact, the young professionals who choose to rent together do it because they enjoy sharing their living space and they don't like being cramped. Opening up the rooms makes smaller flats feel bigger and gives them more sense of light and space. Young professionals want the trendiest lifestyle, and at the moment that's definitely open-plan living. In fact, it's so popular that big new developments aimed specifically at the young professional market are using open-plan living. So I've brought Martin to one in North London to see if I can win him over.
Here, what they've done is it's the same sort of size as your flat, and you've got the kitchen area here, and the seating area here, and an eating area over there. And for young professionals, this is exactly how they want to live, and that's mainly because they haven't had all afternoon to prepare supper and invite people over. They actually grab it from the supermarket on the way home. They arrive at the same time as their guests do, and they're preparing it all while they're talking to their guests. So this absolutely suits young professional life.
I'm pretty adamant it wouldn't work in my case. Considering that I've got to go for 5 bedrooms, I think I'm going to stick to my original plan. If you've got 5 people trying to do things at the same time in the lounge and in the kitchen, it becomes a bit chaotic.
What's actually happening with your flat, seems to me, is that by deciding you're going to have 5 bedrooms, there's a whole load of knock-on effects that means has to happen. I have to say, I've never actually heard of a 5-bedroom flat before. So
I haven't either. This is the first one. It is a one-off.
Normally you get a 5-bedroom house, not a 5-bedroom flat. So it is a one-off.
Having set his mind on a separate kitchen, even after visiting the development, Martin's still not sure.
That was good because you can put stuff against it. Maybe I should open it. I think she's brainwashed me. And I'm beginning to think that the issue of people cooking and watching television, the clash of it all, is not really that important. The only thing now is really, I'm thinking of where to put the furniture. Plus it will cost more money.
It's really worth talking to local agents before committing to a layout. And better late than never, Martin's come to see what they think of open plan.
Right, I've got a flat in West Kensington and I'm thinking of knocking down the wall between the kitchen and the lounge, but I'm not sure if it's such a good idea. What's the trend in the market at the moment?
And are you aiming for families or is it for corporate sharers?
Corporate sharers.
Corporate sharers, right, okay. I would definitely say as long as sort of you get planning permission and it's all legitimate, that it would be very advisable to actually try and open that space and try and create a much more open, airy living room.
My main concerns are the lack of privacy. Someone's busy watching the television, other people are busy cooking, kind of doesn't make...
If you're mainly aiming for families, then that will probably be more the case, but because it is going to be for corporate sharers, young sharers, they're not going to mind the idea of having, someone cooking whilst the other people are watching TV. They're going to be spending, most of their time together in that room. So I would definitely say for that end of the market, the trend at the moment would try and create as much space as possible so that people don't feel too claustrophobic and too boxed in.
And with that, Martin's mind is made up. The 2 rooms are knocked together, which Martin agrees is a real improvement.
I think the effect which I've achieved is great. It's brilliant because it just makes the whole place much bigger. I've no idea how much extra is going to cost me. The builders are very evasive. They said, "Oh, don't worry about it, we'll talk about it later." But I know it'll be painful. Yeah, it'll cost a few quid.
The results are great, but it's a good idea to find out exactly what it's going to cost before committing to any additional work, especially when your budget is tight, because this extra building work isn't the only thing not in Martin's budget.
They don't actually look too bad, the windows. What are you planning on doing with them?
It would be very expensive to restore them. It would be actually more expensive than to replace them. So I've decided to import windows over from the continent.
Even though these are the original and that's what people want around here?
Yes, I'm having my windows custom built to my spec. They'll appear to be sash windows, but they won't be. It's just much better design. We need to move on with the times, and these are very, very obsolete. And
they're not obsolete. They're in all houses in London. So you're importing these windows from Europe. Is that the only thing you're importing?
No, actually, I'm getting over a lot of stuff. Hinges, extractor fans, all the bathroom fittings.
So why are you importing all this stuff?
To save money, to have a bigger choice of products, to have the originality. This flat needs to be very special.
It does.
Importing materials from abroad can save you money, provided you do your research first. Use the internet as a quick and easy way of sourcing material. Target countries where the products are made. They're often much cheaper if you buy them from their country of origin. Martin's Italian tiles and door handles cost him half what they would have done in the UK. And he saved hundreds on his German bathroom fittings. Remember to add in all the additional costs, like transport, shipping and import duties before deciding to go ahead. These do add up quickly. And double check your order to make sure you've got enough. It's very expensive to find you've run out and have to order more. Two weeks later, Martin's windows arrive from Eastern Europe. Although in the short run these won't affect renting the flat, when he comes to sell, I think they're not that suitable.
There you go, you can wash them. That's what I'm on about. Fantastic soundproofing. It's brilliant.
As a general rule, if you do need to replace windows, then look at the other properties in the road, because in some areas people will pay a premium for double-glazed UPVC units, whereas in others it's original sashes or nothing. Martin should be sticking with the sash windows because they're right for the area. And these ones have just cost £4,500. That isn't in his budget.
Your initial budget was £45,000 at a maximum you were going to spend on the flat.
Yeah.
Do you think you're still within that figure?
It's escalating daily.
So how much do you think it's going to cost now?
Excluding the floor, and I haven't... Originally, I thought of carpeting the floor, but I'm going to probably put a parquet flooring on some kind of wooden floor. Probably around 52,000.
Right. So that's quite a bit over, though, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll be able to stick at the £52,000?
I should hope so, but I'll be skimping on kitchens and stuff.
Do you still expect to get £2,500 a month for the flat?
Or more. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's quite serious. And the estate agent said to me, just give it a lick of paint and rent it out to whoever wants it.
And why didn't you do that?
I don't know. It's now personal. It's not business anymore.
Now it's
Yeah.
gotta be right.
Yeah, it's my baby. I need to.
Oh, you got personal. That's a golden rule.
Oh, no.
This is property developing, and it's all about money. If you don't stick to a budget, at some point you will end up making no money at all. So I think you have to decide, if 52 is the figure, 52 it has to stay.
That's the absolute ceiling.
It's really tough trying to keep on top of a big building job when it's the only thing you're doing. But Martin already has a full-time job, and while he's running his own business, no one's running the site.
I'm away from my flat doing the trade fair here. This is my kind of normal business, selling glassware. And it kind of worries me, the fact that I'm not there supervising the builders, because, you know, when you're not there, things do go wrong. I've had a few calls from the builders complaining about problems at the flats. I don't want them to do something and then camouflage it, and the problem will come out in 6 months.
But if you're going to project manage, then you'd better get it right. And that means overseeing every aspect, from scheduling when the tradesmen are on site to ordering the right paint.
The main problem with developing the property is relying on unreliable people, basically. That's what it is.
Hi, can I speak to Lorraine?
I'm having to chase everybody, particular suppliers, to come back to me with the prices. The trouble with the builders quite often is that they tell you when they're going to run out of something when they've run out of it.
And in addition to these problems, Martin's costs are escalating.
I've gone over the budget so much so that I did have to consider charging more rent, basically, in order to recoup. I'll probably raise the price rent to £2,700 maybe, 2,728. Hey Martin, wake up and smell the coffee. We'll see.
This is a big risk, because you can only charge more if that's in line with the market. When you're property developing, it's crucial to watch what's happening to the market to make sure you can still get the return you're expecting. If Martin had been looking, he'd have seen this property a couple of roads away for £2,500 a month. That's £300 less than Martin wants. But it has 3 big bedrooms, one with ensuite, kitchen diner, and a decent-sized living area. For the same as Martin's asking, there's this luxury apartment with huge sitting room, 4 large bedrooms and 3 en-suites, all with balconies overlooking the Thames. And you get free membership at the gym. Martin's renters could have this 5-bedroom house for an extra £100 a month, along with its luxurious bedrooms, sauna, jacuzzi bath and decked garden. Martin needs to offer the same standard, and I'm worried that given the choice, these young professionals just won't want to live in his flat.
This really is quite a small room. You can almost touch the walls by just putting your arms out, can't you?
Please don't wind me up.
I'm sorry.
It is quite small, but it's big enough to put a double bed.
First-time developer Martin Sutherland's converting this 3-bedroom flat into a luxury 5-bedroom apartment.
5 bedrooms is much better than 3, I believe.
He hopes to rent it out as a long-term pension investment. He's invested all his savings and he's already thousands of pounds overspent. And I'm worried the people Martin wants to let to won't want to live in this flat.
This room, I mean, it really is quite small, isn't it?
Please don't wind me up.
I'm sorry.
It is quite small, but it's big enough to put a double bed.
Martin can rent these rooms, but not to the people he wants for the price he wants.
The thing is that I really feel that if you're going to have 5 sharers, they're not going to be top-end professional renters. They're not going to want to rent a flat when 3 of the 5 bedrooms are really small. And I just wonder if the solution is that you spend less on the spec, so you don't have the plasma screen, you don't have the parquet floor, you don't spend as much money as you're spending, but you make this appeal to the student market.
I don't think student would be the right kind of tenant for this flat.
My argument really is just that if you don't spend as much on the finish, then you can charge less per room because you spent less, and therefore you're more likely to broaden your market and have more people who are prepared to rent this. 3 of the bedrooms.
He's got to charge a lot because he's spending so much on the development. But if he could control his budget, then he'd be able to lower the rent and appeal to more people. Like the students who live in this 5-bedroom flat paying £100 each a week. It's simple, functional, and everything's cheap to replace. The appliances are basic and there's no expensive gadgets. Martin could save himself thousands by doing the same, but he just keeps on spending.
Sarah has suggested that I should spend less money on decor and charge less money for rent, but that would be putting me in the same pot with all other landlords. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather spend more money, have great satisfaction. I've got a great flat, feel secure that I can always rent it out, and charge more money. I'm going to be very choosy about I'm trying to say that diplomatically. I'm going to be very selective about my tenants. As far as students are concerned, they'd have to be very rich, very well behaved. I feel like a pharaoh building a pyramid. I want to make my mark on this. Yeah.
But Martin's top-end finish is costing him a fortune.
This is all flooring you've had delivered, parquet flooring, but you had £1,200 in the budget for all your flooring. How much did all this cost?
About £2,000.
And does that include the underlay and fitting it and finishing it off?
No. It will cost about £5,000 all in.
Crikey, so £5,000, so that's £3,800 over budget on just the flooring.
Yeah.
Which I do agree is going to look gorgeous, but you decided that was a good idea, did you? Why was that?
It's the quality material. I mean, look at that. 3/4 of an inch solid oak.
Oh, I'm not doubting it's gorgeous.
Compete with a carpet. It's much better.
So this is going to cost you nearly £4,000 more than you'd originally budgeted on for the flooring.
Yeah, and that's excluding the carpet that still needs to be laid on the floor, on the stairs.
So that's on top of the £5,000 for the parquet.
Yep.
How is your budget going? Because
it's not very well. I've already gone well over the budget, but I may as well go the whole 9 yards.
How much are you at now? Because you were
about £57,000 in total is what I've earmarked.
You really have to stick to that and not go any higher, because to get the return that you want on your investment, if you carry on trickling up, you're going to end up in real trouble.
I know you can go on forever spending money. I mean, this is it. I'm not going to spend a penny over the £57,000.
So that'll be definitely...
That's it, yeah.
No more?
The worst case scenario, 57 grand.
A month ago, Martin's maximum budget was £52,000. It's now 57. He's had to take out a bridging loan to pay for spending, which is costing £300 a month in interest alone. And this development still has a long way to go.
It's such an awkward layout of this kitchen. We lost that wall, so I can't put anything up against it. So the U-shaped kind of kitchen is out of the question. And also the limitation of it is the window, because it opens inwards, which means you can't put a sink or a tap in its way. I think I must have made a mistake, because I was going to put the handle on this side, so the window would open that way. Unfortunately, I've made a mistake, and I can't change it. The total budget was £2.5 grand for the kitchen, and I'm confident I can do it in that budget. Kitchens are cheap when if you know where to buy them.
But 2 weeks later, and Martin's dragging me to see a kitchen he's hoping to buy. And it's nowhere near his £2,500 limit. In fact, I think he'd be lucky to get change from £15,000.
So, is this the kind of kitchen that you want to get?
I love it. I think stainless steel would complement the look of the flat very well, and work very well with the aluminium and brushed steel.
Considering this kitchen here would be about £15,000 and your budget is £2,500. I mean, clearly you are a very long way off of being able to afford it.
The flat's going to look so beautiful that I wouldn't like to put an inferior quality kitchen in it, because it would be a letdown. And if it means spending more money on something that will be of better quality, so be it. I might even go over even more over my budget.
I have to say, to spend £15,000 on a kitchen that's going to be shared by 5 renters seems absolutely nuts, because they're just not going to look after it, and it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. You're better off choosing a cheaper kitchen that you can replace regularly.
Choosing kitchens for the rental market is different from getting them for properties you're selling. Make sure that units are standard sizes and that you can get replacement doors and drawers easily, because rental kitchens do take a battering and you need to be able to replace them. Choose worktops that are durable and practical, and avoid wood. It looks great when it's new, but you have to look after it to keep it that way, and tenants may not. On a top-end flat, stone like granite is incredibly hard-wearing and looks good, but it's very expensive for this type of property. A month later, and Martin's new kitchen is being fitted. Thankfully for once, he's shown a little restraint and just about kept the £2,500 in the budget.
I went for the cheaper kitchen because I had to start saving money somewhere. It's costing me about £1,500, this kitchen, so it's not so bad. Plus the appliances, of course. I was originally worried that the kitchen might be a letdown in terms of the look of the flat, but the way I'm going to trim it with my own kind of personal touch is going to make it look really good. It'll look $1 million and some change by the time I finish with it. Promise you that.
But elsewhere, he seems to be making much more work for himself.
So now that you've nearly finished with the flat and you're doing the bits of finishing touches, how are you going to actually rent this flat out, do you think?
I'm going to rent it out as individual rooms, basically. The whole flat will be split into bedrooms and...
So you're going to rent each room individually and
Separate,
advertise each room separately?
It's a lot easier than renting out the whole place as one unit.
It's so not. You've got to find 5 people who not only get on, but also if you've got 3 people living here who happen to live like pigs and you're trying to let the other 2 rooms, how do you're doing a viewing at 9 o'clock at night, and there are 3 of them watching telly and they're eating their Chinese takeaways. They've got overflowing ashtrays and they've got mouldy old milk in the fridge. You've got to kind of say, so I'm doing a viewing at the moment.
No. The kind of person that I'm going to invite to live here would be a young professional who earns plenty of money, who's well-groomed, who's a non-smoker. I'll be asking for references.
I would recommend that you let this whole flat as one unit, because then you'll get one group of friends who will take joint responsibility for not only the rent being paid, but the bills being paid and the flat being kept in a reasonable condition.
I don't think there's a clear-cut solution to this. I think your scenario is no better than mine.
But what about the bills? How are you going to organise those between the 5 tenants?
This is something I haven't thought of yet. It's kind of, I'm brushing it under the carpet for the moment.
It would seem to me there's quite a lot of things that you haven't really quite thought of.
No, this is the only thing I haven't thought of.
Okay.
Martin certainly can let the flat this way, but it's making a lot of extra work for himself for little extra return. You can also cut back on the work by employing a letting agent to find your tenants, do the inventory and tenancy agreement, collect the rent, and even manage the building. But it will cost you around 10 to 15% of your rental income. If you do want to do it yourself, make sure you have a proper contract drawn up and a complete inventory list. With the project so overspent, Martin wants it finished and on the market, and the builders are working around the clock to get it done. I only hope it's worth it.
This is a tiny single room. It's more like a study. I'd find it very difficult to rent this as a bedroom.
After 4 months of hard work and a lot of stress, Martin Sutherland has transformed this run-down 3-bedroom flat into a 5-bedroom high-spec apartment. The main bedroom is a success, and the ensuite really does work well. The other bedrooms are very small, though, and have practically no storage, which you might get away with for a sale, but will be difficult for long-term rental. The whole flat does have a fantastic finish. And I'm pleased that in the end, Martin decided on an open-plan living space, which does make these 2 rooms feel much bigger. But the other rooms do feel very small.
Now, we're in the room that you created by cutting a piece off the sitting room and making this into a bedroom. And I mean, it does have everything you could need in it. It's got a wardrobe and it's got a double bed, but it's very awkward. You've got these windows that you spent an extra £4,500, which wasn't in your budget on, which you can't actually open them. And to get across, you have to crawl across here, and then to open them, you have to, well, you can't open it because the pillows are in the way.
Thankfully you can't, because you'd fall out. It'd be a health and safety problem.
So you can't open the window?
If you really want to have it open on a hot summer's night, you just pull away the bed from the wall, and then you open it. Okay, your cushions, your pillows will fall, but hey, you'll be cool.
Right.
Even creating the new shower cut the kitchen in half, and although both look great, they are quite small. I'm pleased Martin bought the cheaper kitchen, and his personal touches have really finished it off.
what's really effective here is you've got this fantastic vista from one side of the flat to the other. And one of the issues with design is if you can see space, it feels bigger. And that's what you've achieved here. It feels great.
Yeah, I'm glad I followed your advice on that one and opened up the kitchen.
You put this wall in to divide this room in half. So you've got the shower room in half of the room and the kitchen in the other half. Do you not think it's actually quite a small kitchen for 5 sharers?
I don't think there'd be a problem, and you make it sound as if they're all kind of grumpy individuals who don't talk to each other. I'm sure it'll all fall into place very easily.
Are you going to make rules for the tenants who live in this flat as to who pays for the bleach, who cleans the floor?
No.
If you don't organise that and give them rules, how are they going to arrange it?
How do hippie communes work? The same way. People will have to share things and come to agreement.
It's a beautiful ideal, but people aren't quite as beautiful as that.
I am an idealist, anyway.
You are.
Martin has spent a lot on this development financially and emotionally, and I hope he's pleased with the result.
So now it's all finished. Have you actually enjoyed doing this project?
No. I enjoy designing things. I hate the building work, the dust, the mess, the stress, the arguing with the builders over this or that, things going wrong.
Well, it brings me to the budget, because there's no denying this flat looks fantastic, and nobody could question that. But you were planning on spending £45,000 maximum doing the building work, plus fees. And you've ended up spending 75. And the question is, was it worth it?
The detail here is incredibly high. I mean, if you look, all the skirting boards are mitered exactly. There's no gaps anywhere. There's no cracks. It's perfect. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to live in it myself. What's the point?
It looks great, but it hasn't come cheap. His labour and materials increased from £27,800 to a massive £47,000. Even though he saved by importing tiles and fittings, his bathroom still cost an extra £300. Martin had budgeted £2,500 for his kitchen. It cost £2,650. But he'd only allocated £1,200 for flooring. This cost £5,250. Furnishing the flat went from £2,500 to £8,650. His windows were an additional £4,500 that wasn't even in his budget. In total, Martin's development has cost him an enormous £74,350, plus stamp duty and fees at £13,000.
So, would you have spent as much, do you think, on the finishes?
This is it. I feel I've well overspent.
Martin wants to rent this flat for a total of £2,800 per month to young professionals. But will they pay what he needs?
This is a great room. This would definitely appeal to our type of client. I think the windows are a problem because of the way they open. Means that nothing can go underneath them or even beside because they're so huge.
All new is exactly what we want. What I would actually say is basically if the kitchen had been a fraction bigger.
I think the wardrobe is actually quite strange. It's so small.
Lovely Italian limestone, heated towel rail.
This is a tiny single room. It's more like a study. I'd find it very difficult to rent this as a bedroom. I don't think this flat would appeal to the type of client I have looking for that specification, purely because they would have to be sharing with 4 other people.
Master bedroom is actually fantastic size. Unfortunately, the other 3 to 4 bedrooms are very, very small. Trying to get people actually into them is going to prove a bit of a headache.
I don't think we've got clients that would want, at the professional sort of sharing level, would want to share with 4 other people. I would put this flat on the rental market at £2,100 a month.
For the flat, I think I could get £2,400 per month.
I think I could let this property at £2,500 a month.
This is a blow because Martin's been determined to rent the property to the young professional market. But he still could make a profit if he sold.
We did actually get some people also to value the property for sale, and they said that there was an average of about the figure of £430,000 they felt it would be worth. Would you consider selling it at 430 then?
No, because I'd make no money at all. By the time we've added all the building works fees and the mortgage and the stamp duties and all that, I'd probably make 10 grand. Not for 4 months of hard labour. No.
So you're going to hang on to it?
I'm going to hang on to it, yeah, definitely.
So Martin takes matters into his own hands and decides to let the rooms out individually to anyone prepared to pay the rent.
Oh yeah, there it is. West Kensington, West 14. Architect newly designed deluxe 5-bedroom maisonette with plasma TV, ADSL, Sky, 3 limestone bathrooms.
A week later, and he's let them all, though not to the people he'd originally been hoping for.
One guy is French, one girl is Australian, one girl is Italian, and 2 guys are English.
And are they young or old?
Yeah, they're all kind of 20, 24.
So they are the kind of just left college, it's their first home sort of age.
Yeah,
that type of
people
age.
who like to be pampered once they've left home.
I think they're people who like to have wild parties.
I don't mind, as long as they look after the property, no problem at all.
In all honesty, I don't think that the sort of people who have rented this flat from you are the sort of people that you were initially hoping to rent it to, with all these beautiful finishes. They're the sort of people who are first coming to London and they're first renting their flat, not older people who are going to really appreciate the amount of money that you've spent on the finishes in the flat.
You're probably right. I mean, I was probably aiming at slightly older. I don't think we should put a label on the age. When I was 18, I was a perfectly respectable young man.
Rubbish.
There's no doubt that Martin has made this flat look fantastic, but the question is, was it really necessary to indulge himself on such expensive finishes? Well, I don't think they've necessarily made him any more money, and he's definitely built a rod for his own back, letting the rooms individually. In the long term, though, I hope this property will give him plenty of cash for a comfortable retirement.